Part 52. Commander Mo and General Xie worried his prince, then they strictly guarded against from enemy. Ming Yu finally learned the news that the traces of the barbarians were exposed. That's good. As long as they know their whereabouts, it will be a matter of time to eliminate this group of people. He knew the capabilities of the guard very well, and he was confident that he could annihilate this barbarian bandit. This plan of yours is very good and can be implemented. This is a good opportunity to fight. The guard army is too lack of real combat experience. You transfer all the soldiers of the guard battalion and let them compete with these people. Contest. Ming Yu threw a candied fruit in his mouth and said while looking at Mo Zhang. This is a good opportunity. Although the boys of the guard battalion often compete with the Red Robe Army and the garrison in confrontation exercises, these routine trainings are always inferior to the actual operation of real knives and real guns. An army that hasn't actually fought and seen blood is not called an army at all. Compared with Xie Yishou's Red Robe Army, their guard army is always a little worse. That's right. No matter how you train, in Ming Yu's view, the guards always lack something called blood. This is incomparable to the Red Robe Army polished with real knives and guns on the battlefield. Blood is something you can't see or touch. Only soldiers who have experienced hundreds of battles will stand out. Just go there and stop. Murderous aura can make people shy away. What Ming Yu wants to build is a perfect guard army, which can protect the family and the country, and protect the well-being of the people. And if you want such a guard army, you must let them get training. And the experience gained on the real battlefield is something that can't be achieved by ordinary training for several years or more than 10 years. Now, this is the opportunity that ye people sent to the door to let the cubs train, and you can't miss it. Therefore, when Ming Yu heard the news brought by Xie Yishou, he was so excited to take this matter on the guard camp. When the opportunity is rare, it is natural to seize it if it can be grasped, and Ming Yu will let everyone in the guard camp go. Hearing his words, Mo Zhang frowned and clearly disagreed. If he wanted to send everyone in the guard camp according to the prince's wishes, isn't there a single guard beside him? This is very wrong. Ming Yu's guard is a team of soldiers in the guard camp. As a prince, how could he be away from the guard? My prince, you can't be like this. The guard camp protects my prince for the sake of their duty. How can you give up the basics? Sending all the people out for the sake of a few foreign bandits is absolutely impossible. Mo Zhang shook his head firmly and said that the prince's safety is the #1 priority. I can't let the prince be capricious anymore. It stands to reason that the 500 guards assigned by the emperor to the prince should all guard the palace. But Ming Yu didn't agree, saying that his palace was surrounded by a group of people. Wouldn't it be a prison? No matter what they said, they deliberately got a guard camp outside the city. There were only a few dozen guards left in the palace, and they were rotated every 10 days. Ming Yu's attitude is firm, and Mo Zhang can only compromise. But if everyone is sent out now, the prince's side will become an empty shelf. If there are people who are plotting bad things, it will be a big problem, and he will not agree to anything. Hey, you are thinking too much. And I have nothing to do here. Ming Yu glanced at him. Mo Zhang still looked unmoved. Obviously it was useless for Ming Yu to talk. Ming Yu rested his forehead, intending to make persistent efforts. Commander Mo, you see, this prince is in Liangcheng, and there are soldiers guarding the city, so there is no need to worry about my safety issues. Mo Zhang said respectfully, no. This is not okay. Ming Yu was full of black lines, and he had no choice but to take a step back. Well, let's dispatch that batch of recruits for the time being. The recruits he was talking about were young men who came to the base for training. Those who are particularly outstanding and willing to stay will form the reserve force of the Guard Battalion, but this force cannot be underestimated. Such a piece of white paper can allow Ming Yu to draw beautiful shapes. If used well, the Guard Army in the future will be an iron army with mission, loyalty, responsibility, and glory. Ming Yu valued them very much, and focused on cultivating them, not only focusing on physical training, but also cultural classes. Originally, I was thinking of letting this batch of recruits follow along, but now it seems that I can only give up. No, the training time for this batch of recruits is too short and the foundation is too poor to assume the responsibility of guarding. Mo Zhang denied. Mo Yang's stubbornness also left Ming Yu speechless. How could the situation be so serious? He stayed in the palace and at most occasionally went to the craftsman to see. Where could there be any danger? Ming Yu talked bitterly for a long time, and finally let Mo Zhang relax, and promised that Ming Yu's guards could use recruits, but the old man also had to have them. So half and half. All right. Speaking of which, it is useless to argue, Ming Yu had to compromise. Mo Zhang was still not at ease, and warned, "My prince, you must never leave the city. If you have anything to do, wait for your subordinates to take down the pirates before making arrangements." Ming Yu raised his hands in a gesture of surrender, and nodded again and again, yes. Yes, yes. It must be sure. Why is Mo Zhang chatting like Qingping now? Could it still be contagious? Sure enough, it's impossible to say if you don't make a pair. Although he was still worried. Mo Zhang finally came down and was about to leave, but Ming Yu asked someone to bring a small box and hand it to Mo Zhang. It's still a bit dangerous to deal with the barbarians here. With this thing, you can protect yourself. Mo Zhang was taken aback, opened the box, and when he saw what was lying inside, his heart was full of emotion. His Royal Highness. This is a self-defense thing for your highness, and it is absolutely not necessary for your subordinates. Suffice it, this object Mo Zhang had seen before was called a crossbow. With amazing power and huge lethality. Mo Zhang refused, but Ming Yu couldn't help but put the item in his hand and said with a smile, "It's not like you don't know. The craftsman is still making new ones, originally thinking of giving you the new ones, but this thing. The production is precise, and it takes a lot of time. This time you are going to fight against the barbarians, you can't wait for a new one, so just use this first. The craftsman can make a small crossbow according to what I described." I have to say it really surprised it. When he made the first one, he tried it in the guard camp. Although there were still some flaws, it did not affect the use. At that time, when Ji saw it, it was as if he had seen the girl he liked, and his eyes could not be opened. Ji loves archery very much, and the arrows are precise. And it is not an exaggeration to pierce through the opposite with 100 steps. Seeing Ming Yu take out such a magical weapon, how could you not see hunting enmity? He tried several times. And he fell in love with it more and more, so he got entangled with Ming Yu, and he had to ask for anything. Ming Yu couldn't either. The man in front of him was Xie Yishou's favorite general. Borrowing him to the guard camp for so long, it would be unreasonable not to give him such a small thing. Besides, this is just a flawed experiment. And there is still room for improvement in the future. Jiyu's archery is superb, and his opinions are very useful for improving this thing. So, Ming Yu was not stingy. And with a generous wave of his hand, promised to him. In the underground passage in the village, Jiyu used this crossbow to shoot the Yi people's armor in the opposite direction. What Ming Yu took out today was the second one, and it was also made after improvements. It was a crossbow that was really close to later generations. With a perfect second one. There will be a third or even a fourth one, so Ming Yu doesn't feel bad about sending a crossbow at all. My prince. Mo Zhang was at a loss for the first time. And he was grateful to the prince for his trust. Ming Yu patted on his shoulder. You have been with me for the longest time, because you know me, and I don't say much else. I have never regarded you as a subordinate. Princess self-proclaimed. Ming Yu did not put out his identity, but was like a friend. Yes, thank you, my highness. Mo Zhang bowed his head and thanked him, his drooping eyebrows restraining the turbulent waves in his eyes. The sun was shining outside the door. Xie Yishou saw this scene as soon as he came, and Ming Yu's hand on Mo Yang's shoulder was inexplicably dazzling. The enemy was right in front of him, and Mo Zhang didn't dare to delay too much. The guards had already rushed there, and he had to rush over to make arrangements and prepare for all battles. In fact, Mo Zhang was also uneasy in his heart. The cubs of the guard camp had too little actual combat experience. In addition to the confrontation exercise with the Red Robe Army and garrison, at most it is to exterminate bandits. Everyone knows that the power of bandits is simply not comparable to that of barbarians. The guard army can easily annihilate the bandits, but it may not be able to have an advantage in the face of the barbarians. He had seen the methods of the barbarians. They were ruthless and violent. They came and went on horseback like the wind, and they had almost no opponents. Since they let their guards deal with the barbarians, everything must be done with caution. Ming Yu was very reassured about the guards. The young eagle must let him fly, so that there will be a wider sky waiting for them. If he doesn't go out to exercise, he will never grow up, and now he just needs to wait for their good news. Ming Yu sighed. Originally, he wanted to start the construction of a horse farm, but now he can't go out of the city, so he can only put it aside. As for digging the canal, he had a new idea. But this idea could not be realized for a while. If it was realized, the canal would save a lot of time and effort, and it would not be a problem at all. We still need a craftsman. Now the burden of the craftsman is already very heavy. Making glass products, making clairvoyance, making crossbows, the manpower brought from Beijing is simply too busy. Although he had asked the craftsmen to recruit apprentices, the apprentices were only doing peripheral work at first, and the real precision still depended on the old man. There are still more things to do. The craftsmen of the craftsmen have already had their opinions, and they are painful and happy every day. If people turn his new ideas into reality, I'm afraid it will drive them crazy. Ming Yu had some headaches, and it seemed that he had to focus on making what he needed first, and giving up something at the right time to be efficient. As soon as he raised his head, he saw Xie Yishou in the sun, handsome without a neat, silver armor and red robe, so dazzling in the sun. Ming Yu couldn't help but blink. When he came back to his senses, Ming Yu smiled and said, "General Xie is here." Xie Yishou suppressed the strange feeling in his heart, bowed and saluted. "I have seen the prince." Xie Yishou was able to appear here without notice, because Ming Yu had spoken. "Yes, I had instructed that anyone who came by General Xie could come in directly." "Why is the general here?" "This prince still wants to send someone to inform you. Since you are here, you don't have to run this trip alone." Ming Yu smiled and let Xie Yishou enter the hall, and said after the two sides were seated. Ming Yu's words made Xie Yishou frown, and there was a faint feeling of pantothenic acid in his heart. Just now when Ming Yu spoke to Mo Zhang, he called himself me. Now he put on a mask again, and called him the prince in front of him. Although he knew that Ming Yu claimed to be the proper etiquette, he somehow felt uncomfortable. He reluctantly calmed down, suppressed the restless feeling in his heart, and said in a deep voice, "I heard that the barbarians have exposed their traces, and I came here to see you." "Do I need to dispatch the Red Robe Army?" Although the barbarians outside Xichong Gate are moving frequently, but there is no sign of attack for a while. The attack of this small group of foreign bandits made him always feel uneasy, but he couldn't say what was wrong. This morning, I heard the news that traces of the Yi bandits were found in the north of Liangzhou, so I hurried over. Originally, I was unreasonably happy to see Ming Yu, but after seeing the scene just now, I felt a chill in my heart. Xie Yishou also found that something was wrong with him, but he couldn't find out what caused it. He had never been like this before, it was really inexplicable. Ming Yu had already noticed that Xie Yishou was in a bad mood today. Although he still had a cold face as always, he felt different when he was happy or not. Ming Yu had already figured out Xie Yishou's temperament, but he didn't know why. Maybe it's because of the barbarians outside Xichong Gate. Could it be that the barbarians have something new? He had already guessed the purpose of Xie Yishou's coming here, so he quickly said, No, it is more than enough to have our guards to deal with these barbarian bandits. And there is no need to bother the Red Robe Army to go. The Red Robe Army has to deal with the army of foreigners outside the customs. If you assign another manpower to take care of the invading barbarians, you are afraid that you will lose the big because of the small. If you really delay the major affairs of the country, you will become a sinner. Xie Yishou's face became even darker, listening to what Ming Yu said. The guards were his own, and outsiders like the Red Robe Army could not interfere. In this way, the great commander of the guard battalion was also his own, and he, Xie Yishou, was an outsider after all. It's no wonder that Ming Yu's attitude towards Commander Mo is very intimate. And there is always a seemingly non-existent barrier when facing other people. When he thought of this, he felt uncomfortable. And he didn't know why he felt uncomfortable for Ming Yu's attitude deviation inexplicably. Logically speaking, how the prince treats people is not the responsibility of a courtier, but, what happened to me? Ming Yu glanced at him. What happened? Did he say something wrong? General Xie. Don't worry, this is still an opportunity to train the boys. They will definitely perform well and finally hand over a satisfactory answer sheet. Besides, there is still Commander Mo. So don't worry. Not to mention Mo Zhang. As soon as Mo Zhang was mentioned, Xie Yishou became even more panicked. It's not that I'm worried. Since the prince said so, so be it. General Xie? Is there nothing wrong outside Xichong Gate? Ming Yu asked with concern. Xie Yishou said coldly, Nothing. Why is it still like this? Ming Yu was confused. Before he could ask any more questions, Xie Yishou's voice sounded, Your Highness has sent all the guards out? Ming Yu's temperament, this is a good opportunity to train soldiers. And it will definitely let the soldiers of the guard battalion go to exercise. Ming Yu laughed awkwardly. Not all of them were sent out, but some people were left behind. The recruits didn't go. I'll find an opportunity in the future so that the recruits can also feel the atmosphere of the battlefield. Xie Yishou frowned. There is no one around the prince? I'm afraid it's not right. It's okay. Ming Yu said with a nonchalant smile. This prince has his own measure. In Liangcheng, the Lu Zifu is fairly well governed. There are so many surprises. Having said that, Xie Yishou was still worried. He was not as easily persuaded as Mo Zhang. And it was impossible for an outsider like him to interfere with the prince's arrangement, so he had to be more careful. Ming Yu has already shifted the topic. General Xie. Your order for clairvoyance is almost done. This prince has more important things to develop here. We plan to suspend the supply of clairvoyance and wait until the scale of the artisan workshop is expanded. Xie Yishou nodded, yes. He glanced at Ming Yu. I heard that the new crossbow made by the prince is very good. Thinking of the thing Mo Zhang was holding in his hand when he left just now. It is the crossbow Ji you said, right? I have never seen it myself. Ming Yu scratched his head and said embarrassedly, hey. It's all made up of fools. It's not feasible to mass produce this thing for the time being. When it is manufactured in the future, this prince will give one to the general to play with. If it can be produced in large quantities and used in conjunction with cavalry, the power is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. After all, cavalry and high-speed movement, if they are bowing and shooting arrows, it is a test of personal ability. With this, you can easily shoot a short arrow with just a raised hand. It is fast, accurate, and powerful, and it can save a lot of energy. Ming Yu's last sentence made Xie Yishou feel better at last. He told Ming Yu that he was looking forward to the things he had given him, and he did not shirk.